Hi, this is Dr. Kirk Megu, TV and podcast host and former university lecturer. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. We're coming to the end of the year. Tomorrow's my birthday, but I'm going to continue on. I'm actually going to be going up to a nice little beach lodge, spending my birthday and New Year's with my family. It'll be really great, but I'm going to continue publishing these, right? So I just don't want to break the chain. And the story I want to tell you today, it's related to something that happened this week, something I completed finally, which was sending out a piece about the Guyana situation I was involved in. But I wanted to talk about that because, as a university lecturer, as an academic, the reason why I got into all of this was because I was, very much motivated by a sense of injustice in the world, and that we needed to understand it, raise consciousness, fix these problems. I was very much motivated, and still am, by those things. It's the focus of a lot of my podcasts and my writing and so forth. And it's not just an abstract sense, although I do have that general sense, but it's also about my own past, not necessarily personally, but I mean the countries where my parents came from, where my ancestors came from, that I am part of, and so forth. That there has been these injustices that are concretely understood and felt and echo in my own existence, in my community's existence, etc. And one of those had to do with Guyana, which is a neighboring territory of Trinidad and Tobago, and very similar in so many ways. I remember the first time I learned about it. It was amazing because I was blissfully unaware of it, and it was never really spoken about. A lot of people are unaware of it, remain unaware of it, the way the majority, a minority community, abused the majority, really. With a dictatorship and political violence and all sorts of things. I won't get into the details here on this podcast, but these things angered me when I first learned about it, and I just found it so amazing that people never talked about it. They never. Hardly anybody did anything about it and let it go on for so long. I mean, and it was condoned by the US and the UK as well. And I always vowed to myself that if I would never let that happen. If I could do anything about it, I would not. I just couldn't believe how it happened in the first place in the 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s. And I said, listen, if at a time when I'm conscious this thing happens, I will not just sit back and let it happen. I will do what I can. Now, incredibly, this year, really the end of last year, coming into this year, the same problems or similar problems were rearing their heads. Let me put it that way, rearing its head in Guyana. And I said, listen, I can't do nothing. I cannot let this happen again. And, I raised, consciousness in whatever way I could, as a media personality, as with a social media profile of some influence. I was using that, but, what else could I do though? I was feeling a bit impotent, and it was quite amazing that I got a call right out of the blue. Again, it's kind of one of these calls that happen to me every now and again, and it's because I put myself out there. It's because of my social media posting, it's because of my writing. I was contacted to go to Guyana to actually help raise consciousness about it, intervene in the issue, and I did, and I was able to be part of the process that pushed for the solution, and a compromise solution happened, but it did happen. It's not the best, but something has been resolved, and I'm so glad to be part of that. If similarly you are guided not just by careerist ambitions or your money, if your profession, if your ideas, if your field, your topic of specialty is a real passion, I mean, you want to affect the real world, I would imagine. I certainly do, and I think most of you would. This is why being in the media is such a great thing, why being a public intellectual, by having a podcast, by being in traditional media as well as social media, your work really has impact. I know I've spoken about this before, but it's because I recently submitted my piece finally to London. I just wanted to raise that, and I'm very, very pleased and grateful to have had the opportunity to help this process. And it's only because I put myself out there in the media, in traditional media, in social media, to make sure my work has the effect. And if you are similarly driven by a mission and purpose, whether that be in business, in personal relationships, whether it be in entrepreneurship, or whether it be in some specific area of intellectual endeavor, getting people to love poetry or something, it doesn't have to be in the same sort of areas that I'm interested, of course. There are a whole bunch of areas of legitimate passion that you may be part of. I would really, I'm really interested in all this kind of stuff. I'm not only interested in political stuff, not at all. And, I'd really love to help you out. The New Year's coming up. Let's schedule a call if you're interested in that. Otherwise, what I'll tell you about tomorrow, which is my birthday, and the next day, New Year's Eve, I'm going to be sharing with you a sneak peek of my Bulletproof podcast formula sales videos. I just completed them, and I'm really excited about that. But that's for tomorrow. So for today, that's it. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow and talk to you later. Bye.